Hello folks, it's Derek here on the OTC or on the cheap channel, trying to do more with less and save you money in frugal ways, we'll say. Another beautiful early morning here in New Brunswick, Canada. All this information be applicable to anywhere, I'm sure. But today I'm going to talk about pits in your garage, in your shop. Some places deemed illegal, some places deemed okay. A lot of them have to have a lot of safety involved. This particular pit at my work has been here since this shop was built in the mid to late 70s, and a little outside of my realm, though I'm in my 26 years here. Anyway, I know there's a lot of pits around. Some are deemed legal, some are deemed illegal. I know of one being constructed now, unofficially somewhere. And I just want to give a rundown on the good, bad, and the ugly with my prior experience. So here we go. So this pit in this particular shop, could have been deeper, I think. But anyway, so this one has nice wide cement steps laid out in it. As you can tell, it's great for oil changes, right? And very important with this one, have drain. So this pit is around 5 feet deep, and I guess the overall length of this would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 feet. Now, the great thing about this one is we thought to have an outlet put in, which is really great, especially when it comes to trouble lights and stuff. Although I don't think trouble lights are as prevalent now, the old corded ones. But plugging in your grinder or whatnot. And important in these is what these are considered explosion-proof lights. And the only difference that I'm aware of, because I've seen it with switches for explosion-proof, is just a rubber gasket that seals it out so there's no spark. The old lights that were in here didn't last long. They all got wet because we park our plow truck over this. So a lot of times when it's out salting, plowing, comes back and it sits in here in the heat as it rusts, and it drips and drips and drips, and it runs down and pops these bulbs. But so far with these plastic encased ones, it's worked out well. Other than, as you can see, they catch all the grit. That's a lot of speedy dry. They catch all the grit and everything and grime from hanging out too far. But it was a lot easier than hacking this all out. But the biggest problem with this particular pit is for its use, it's not deep enough. It should have been made a little deeper, because when you're in here working on big equipment, loaders, backhoes, or like an excavator or dump truck, it's perfect because everything is set up that much higher off the floor. But when you're working on our work truck, like just a 3/4 ton, it is a struggle. It's, even though it's taller than most vehicles, but you're at that height where you're not quite standing upright, and it's incredibly hard on the back. It's the same fatigue your back experiences that a lot of people find from holding their arms up too long working on something. And as far as like a passenger car and stuff, the height of this pit is terrible for that, because you're really, really, really crunched. And it just doesn't work out that well. But mainly this is an industrial setting. It's an industrial pit. For its purpose, it works well. But if you're thinking of installing one, I'm going to walk with my camera here. I would say, to know whether or not it's right for your use, and don't mind the oil as I flip you back around, because we also undercoat some vehicles here with oil. That'll be another video. The biggest thing to keep in mind is pits are absolutely fantastic for doing work on exhaust, oil changes, a lot of like undercarriage wiring and stuff like that. But there are limitations for sure, because if you want to do any work involving brakes, anything, the tires, wheels have to come off, or the vehicle has to be jacked up. It just doesn't work, because your jack ends up right on this fine edge, and you can even set it back to here and as you jack, it rolls with the weight and it ends up too close. So you really have to watch that. So pit, it's not good for everything, excuse me, but it's good for a lot. It's great to get a vehicle over it every once in a while and just take a look. You can catch things way down the road before they happen. But it's funny, a lot of people don't tend to think about, they think, oh, that'd be great for doing brake work. Well, no, it kind of sucks and you don't really use it. Maybe if you're doing brake lines and such and you can get in and access stuff to some extent, but we've had times we've worked on our work trucks here over the years and you want to have to do a brake line, the wheel cylinder, etc. You can park next to the pit, which works out great, and work standing out of the pit. Now that works really, really well. But it's just funny, the pit's just not, it's not good for everything. Sometimes, some lights on here, should have done that earlier. Sometimes you can back up to it, like for one of our vehicles here, a trackless or sidewalk machine here. Quite a little buggy, with a little Cummins in it, and turbo. I can do a video on that too if people want. But like bolting the hitch off and on for the sander seasonally, you can just back right straight up to it. We recently put a whole new axle shaft and rear gears and everything in this. This is one very sheared off axle shaft. And we replaced all that, and the best way for that, because this vehicle is so narrow, there's not much distance between those tires, which only puts about half the width of each tire over the edge of the pit, which isn't safe. So we just back square up to it, and as I said, you can stand in the pit and work on it. It's like fantastic for stuff like that. Anyway, just some ideas if you're thinking of installing a pit, and if you use a pit and you have any comments, throw them down here. I just all about sharing information and working cheap. And we'll work on, maybe we'll do a video talking about a little more in depth about the construction of how to go about making a pit. There's all different forms. And I gotta tell you, there's one thing here that's sticky, is you have to have covers. These are just made out of checker plate, some people call it diamond plate, and they have bevels. So they sit all along and sit in the trench, and they ride over a couple inches, because here, these technically need to be covered unless there's a vehicle on them. Excuse me. And from experience, one thing that's very, very easy to do is you can climb down under your car, truck, pop the oil drain plug out, take the filter, and come back up. And say if you just went to your friendly Napa and you have your, or etc., Pet Boys, etc., in the US, you can run back here. Say you're gonna get something out of the hatch or out of the trunk or out of the box, you can reach over and completely forget that this step is now here and exposed. I've seen it happen a few times where somebody goes right in. We've even had an incident where a dump truck in the past has made a quick visit into the pit and back out, but thankfully we have the equipment here to deal with that. Anyway, well, thanks folks. This is just another quick video. This might be number 7 or 8 now, I'm not sure, but I don't mind any likes, and I appreciate all of it, and comments, subscriptions and stuff would be great. If as things grow, people can ask more questions, and we can take it from there and see what we can build together. Not here to make money, get rich. My main purpose is just to share information, and I like to help people. Anyway, so this was Derek with OTC on the Jeep channel. Tell your friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye, folks.